NFL Talk with Elite Wages.
Yo, what's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of NFL Talk with Elite Wages. NFL Week 14, Thursday Night Football, done and dusted. It's going to be a pretty short episode this week, I think. Quite a lot of player props this week. Couldn't really find many teams that I like overall. So yeah, let's get straight into this. NFL Sunday, starting off in the Bills and the Rams game. So the Rams will play host to the Buffalo Bills this week, and obviously Buffalo Bills just locked up their postseason. With their division, they've won the division. The Rams themselves, they have it all to play for in their division, which is still well within reach. All four teams in that division could take top spot. 7-5, 6-5, 6-5, and 5-6, all very, very close between the four teams. But in recent weeks, both teams, in this matchup have been heading in different directions. Obviously, like I said, the Bills locked up a playoff spot, and they're still contending the Chiefs for that number one seed. A win this week will keep the pressure on Patrick Mahomes and company. They play on Sunday Night Football as well. And honestly, they look primed to get a win in this matchup. So of the two teams, the Bills are the much better team, leading the Rams in most categories this year. The Bills are ranked in second for most points per game, averaging 29.6, which is significantly higher than the Rams, who are averaging just 21. They're way down in 20th. The Bills have cleared their points average in 9 out of 12 games, including 6 straight. The Bills are also riding a 7-game win streak, with 5 of those wins being by 5 or more points. Interestingly, the Bills have won 10 games, and they win by an average of 13.8 points. Buffalo's defense also one of the very best in the league, ranking 6th, averaging just 19 points per game allowed, while the Rams are sitting down in 21st, and they are averaging 24. As for the Rams, they've been struggling to string wins together as of late. They've gone 6-6 on the year, but 2-2 in the last 4 games, beating only the poor Patriots and the poor Saints team in the last few weeks. When they played a team of a similar caliber to the Bills, using the Eagles as an example, they were the most recent game just 2 weeks back, and they lost by 17 points. So in the Rams' 6 losses, they've lost by an average of 12 points, but that number is significantly inflated due to the Cardinals giving them a hammering as they won by 31 in week 2. So their real number would be closer to sort of a -8, which is almost double the spread we're getting in this game. Everything, in my opinion, points towards a Bills 4.5 win. I do think that number is a little bit too low as well. So we've got to bear in mind that the Bills have been winning games despite playing without 2 key receiving weapons, with Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid out for the last 2 games. Buffalo has still put up 65 points in those two games in the last 2 weeks. But if Josh Allen does get those 2 weapons back for this game, it could be lights out for the Rams. So I'm gonna lock in 1 unit on the Bills, -4.5 at odds of 1.9. So the next game we are going to go to is the Seahawks and Cardinals game. So we've got another divisional game. Obviously, we just spoke about the Rams. This is the same division, Seahawks and Cardinals. This game could extend the lead for the Seahawks at the top of the NFC West, or it could close the gap by the Cardinals. So it's a crucial game for both teams. Points will be a necessity in this game, and to the regulars of my podcast and the Discord, you'll all know what prop that means in this game. I've mentioned that line in a few plays this season, and it's all leading to the same prop, and it's going to lead to the same prop again in this game. The Cardinals defensive unit has been sitting around the top 10 spot all season, currently in 11th for points allowed per game, averaging 21. For the most part, they've been really, really good, generating sacks, pressuring the quarterback regularly, stopping the run too. All that is going to be key against one of the best passing teams in the league this week. The concern for me regarding this Cardinals defense is they do struggle a lot on third down defense. They actually sit in 31st for opponents' third down conversion rate, allowing around 5 or 6 third down conversions per game. and that obviously allows teams to extend their drives. But on the flip side of that, the Cardinals are also one of the best teams in the red zone defensively, allowing the 7th least amount of touchdowns inside the red zone. So while their defense struggles to stop teams on 3rd down, they excel at stopping touchdowns in the red zone. This has obviously meant that the Cardinals have faced a lot more field goals attempts rather than obviously touchdowns. They actually faced the 10th most in the league, which is an average of 2.3 per game, and they actually allowed 2.2 of those to be converted. This season, they've actually allowed opponents to score 2 or more field goals in 8 of their 11 games this season. So moving over to the Seahawks, as for the Seahawks, they haven't used Myers too often this year, with him only attempting 20 field goals, and he's actually converted 17. He has only kicked 2 or more in half of his games, so 6 out of 12. But with this game being essential for both teams, I believe they'll score as many points as possible, even if that means using Myers' legs. So range obviously isn't much of a problem. He's been able to hit from 50 plus multiple times. If they do get into range and they stall in the end zone, like the Cardinals have been able to do in many of their games against a lot of their opponents this year, this play has a ton of potential. So I'm going to go for Myers over 1.5 field goals, and that's at plus money. That's at odds of 2.0, which is plus 100. We're sticking to player props from here on out, I think. We're going to go to the Steelers and Browns game, so another divisional game. And this game is one of the best rivalries to watch as a neutral. It's in, I think it's in Cleveland, this one, I do believe. The history between these two teams is absolutely incredible. All of the controversial decisions, the big hits, the big fights, big plays, even Myles Garrett hitting Rudolph with his own helmet. This game literally has it all. So the 9-3 Steelers host the 3-9 Browns. So it is in Pittsburgh. They meet for the second time in just 3 weeks. So 3 weeks ago, the Browns shocked the Steelers and walked away with a win. One stat that stood out to me in that game was the Steelers' defense was really, really locked down on 3rd down. They allowed the Browns to convert only once from 10 attempts on 3rd down opportunities. And obviously that is pretty solid, but they did allow the Browns to convert 4 out of 4 on 4th down. The Steelers defense also forced 3 turnovers, but couldn't get to James Winston often enough, as they only actually had 1 sack. On the other side of the ball, Garrett had 3 sacks of the Browns, 4 total. And obviously post-game interview, he did go on to say that he was the best pass rusher in the league, which TJ Watt could have taken that a bit personally. So I think this game, TJ Watt is going to have something to say about that. He's been putting up some good numbers this season so far. Watt ranks 11th among edge rushers with a 19% pass rush win rate, meaning he beats the blocker within 2.5 seconds on nearly 1 in 5 pass rush attempts. Watt has a 13 run stop win rate, showcasing his ability to disrupt running plays effectively as well. His 5 forced fumbles are tied for second in the league, highlighting his knack for creating turnovers. Watt has 12 tackles for loss or no gain, tied for the most among edge rushers this season as well. Watt's played the Browns 13 times in his career, and he's had a total of 17 sacks. But more interestingly, he's never gone back-to-back head-to-head games without a sack. He's had a sack in all but 2 games against the Browns in his career. Obviously, the last game 3 weeks ago was one of those games he didn't have a sack, and like I said, he's never had back-to-back games without a sack against the Browns. So Watt actually does have a very favourable matchup this week against the Browns. The Browns' offensive line struggled in pass protection, and Watt's ability to generate pressure and force fumbles could be really, really pivotal in this game. The Browns allow an average of 4 sacks per game, which is the most in the NFL. So I actually expect TJ Watt to be at the top of his game in a revenge game this week at home. So I'm going to go for TJ Watt over 0.5 sacks. Where are we at now? So yeah, another player prop. This one's pretty short and sweet, nice and simple. It's the 49ers versus the Bears. I'm going to keep this one. simple, short, sweet, easy cash, hopefully. The 49ers have been struggling this season. Purdy has been asked to do a lot this year with very little success. He's thrown multiple touchdowns in just 3 games. His team is now down their running back 1, running back 2. CMC is out on IR, as is Mason as well. So they're depleted in the run game. And now they'll face a very good defense in the Bears, very good passing defense that is anyway. But one area they do allow opponents to exploit them in is their run game, in the run defense, especially against quarterbacks. So in games against mobile quarterbacks, they've allowed a significant amount of yardage. I think they average around 15 yards per game. But they have faced quarterbacks, like Goff, who doesn't tend to run too often. So we're going to focus on the mobile quarterback. So in games where they have played mobile quarterbacks, they have rushed for a significant amount than their average. Brock Purdy, he's been asked to create plays himself using his legs as well as his arm. He's rushed for multiple first downs in games to extend drives. The market I'm going to focus on in this game is Brock Purdy longest rush, and the line for this is 9.5. Purdy has exceeded this number in 8 of 11 games so far this season. In addition, the Bears have faced 7 potential mobile quarterbacks. Of those 7, the Bears have allowed 6 of the opposing quarterbacks to a longest rush of 10 or more yards. Interestingly as well, Brock Purdy, let me just have a look at this as well. Brock Purdy is averaging 5.1 yards per carry as well. So he's very, very efficient with the ball. But like I said, his longest rush is 8 out of 11 games. He's actually hit that in 3 games in a row and 5 out of his last 6 games. So I'm actually going to focus on this one. I actually really like this one as well. So yeah, we're going to go Brock Purdy longest rush over 9.5.
Sunday Night Football.
Moving on to Sunday Night Football, and we're on to the Chiefs and Chargers, and we're going to stick to... Oh no, we're actually not. We've actually got another... Well, we've got a team prop in this one. I thought it was another player prop, but it's not. So Chiefs and Chargers. So at this point, it doesn't really matter how we look at this game. It doesn't matter how fraudulent. It doesn't matter how lucky, how fluky. It doesn't matter how bad the Chiefs play. We just need to come to terms with the fact that the Chiefs are just going to win games. In all of the games the Chiefs have played this season, their opponents have had opportunities, some more than others, but they've still had opportunities and chances to win games. The Chiefs may not be covering the spread that much, but they are still winning these games. The Chiefs are 11-1 this season, and they beat the Chargers by 7 points last game out. They've also won 6 straight games against LA. I did read another stat a few days ago, and that involves the Chiefs and having extended rest periods, like bye weeks or mini bye weeks, which is what they've just had. So Andy Reid's squad is 19-3 in the last 5 seasons with a rest edge. So Kansas City is going to play at home this week, and they get a full 9 days rest to prepare for their rival. Obviously, because they played on last Friday, they get 9 days to recover. And their opponents, the Bolts, they're competing their 3rd game in just 14 days. Despite the rest period and despite the Chargers playing 3 games in 14 days, this isn't going to be an easy game either way, especially for the Chiefs. So the Bolts actually own a few top-ranked defensive marks in this league. They're actually first in opponent points per game allowed. And also opponent points per play. On the other end, Kansas City's defense has been very underrated. It's very difficult to run on the Chiefs. They average just 3.7 yards per carry allowed, and that's 2nd in the league. And even the most explosive pass offensive they faced, such as Bengals, 49ers, Bills, they've all been kept to 244 yards per game. So both defenses are very, very good this season. Offensively, both teams aren't playing their best, but the Chiefs do slightly edge the Chargers by 3 points on average per game. The Chiefs have had 7 games since their bye week, and in 5 of those they've surpassed 20 points, with the Chargers also matching the same record as the Chiefs, with 5 of the last 7 games scoring 20 or more. In this matchup, I'm going to back a similar result to their Week 4 head-to-head. The Chiefs have been known not to blow out teams, with 8 of their 11 games being wins within 7 points, but 7 of the 11 wins have been by 4 or more points. 3 of the Chargers' 4 losses have also been by 4 or more. So for this game, we're actually going to buy a point, and we're going to get it down to -3, and we're going to back the Chiefs to win by at least 3. Since the Chargers moved to LA from San Diego, the Chiefs have beaten the Chargers by 3 or more in 11 of 13 matchups. So yeah, 1 unit, Chiefs -3 at odds of 1.85.
Monday Night Football.
And we're actually going to end the week on Monday Night Football, and it's going to be another team prop in the Bengals and Cowboys game. Headed into the season, neither one of these two teams would have pictured themselves in this position. The 4-8 Bengals will travel to Dallas and face the 5-7 Cowboys. The Cowboys haven't been playing well this season, with 3 of their wins coming against the Giants and the Browns. Dak is now sidelined, and they've now won back-to-back games with Cooper Rush as quarterback 1. Neither of those wins were comfortable or straightforward. They only beat the Giants and the Commanders by 1 score, and they did allow both opponents opportunities in this game. So in fact, for 7 straight weeks, they've allowed their opponents to score 20 or more, and 5 of those have scored 27 or more. The Cowboys are averaging the 3rd most points to opposition this season, conceding around 28 points per game on average, tied with the Bengals. The one big difference between the two teams is, despite having losing records, the Bengals are actually ranked as a top 5 offense, especially sitting in 5th for points per game on average, averaging 27 points per game, and the Cowboys are actually way down in 21st, averaging just 20. The Bengals have been one of the most explosive teams in the NFL this season. They rank in 4th for points per play on average. This is mainly due to the fact Joe Burrow loves to launch the ball downfield, and it's shown as he's the league leader for pass yards per game with 264 on average. This game is particularly good matchup for Joe Burrow, even though the matchup hasn't really mattered thus far. He's played well against almost anyone this season, but this week he will face the Cowboys pass defense, which is ranked in 29th for opponents' points per game, like I said, 28 on average, 31st in opponents' points per play, 30th in opponents' yards per pass, which is averaging around 7.9, and 28th in opponents' yards per rush, which is 4.9 on average. And even though the Bengals' run game hasn't been too good this year, it is good to be able to mix in the run with the pass game. For 5 straight weeks, the Bengals have scored over 34 points, averaging 37 points in those 5 games. And over their 12 games this season, they've scored 33 or more in 8. I believe the Bengals' high-scoring offense and their ability to score high amounts of points in games during the season, and the Cowboys allowing teams to score mass amounts of points is a mismatch. I'm going to back the high-scoring offense against a team that can't really stop teams too often. So we're going to go for the Bengals team total over 27.5 at plus money, which is 2.0 plus 100. So that's actually the last play for me this week. So we'll run down the plays real quick. It starts off on NFL Sunday. We're going to go for the Bills minus 4.5. Player props in Myers over 1.5 field goals. We've got TG Watt over 0.5 sacks, Brock Purdy longest rush over 9.5. We've got the Chiefs minus 3, and then we've got the Bengals team total over 27.5. So again, as normal, appreciate everyone for coming in, listening this long. My Linktree link is in the bio. If everyone could just go and give that a click and go over to all my socials, give me a like, a follow, subscribe, all free. I follow back and help me grow a little bit so I can help more people win money. So that's it for me this week. Let's wrap this one up. Good luck to everyone on their bets. Good luck to everyone on the tails. Let's make some money, and I'll catch you later.